About the AMA. And if you don't have the Hustler role, I mean, Leo, you can just get it by going to get roles, the channel get roles, and react to the role giver, and that's it. 467 people have the Hustler role, so that's pretty cool. Okay, I think we're ready.
Yeah, we are live in all of the places now. Uh, yeah, we didn't do the AMA last week because Mitch couldn't make it, and then I also had a scheduling conflict too, so we just called it off. Um, and then Mitch couldn't make it this week also, so got Eric here helping out. But yeah, I think Eric already talked about it, but we decided to do an impromptu kind of little hackathon this morning to find and fix bugs in real time. So the whole dev team, I asked them all to be there for about an hour, everybody at the same time, and me, and then Eric, and then Sunseeker, all in that Hustler channel. And then we invited a bunch of you guys to participate there so that we could find and fix as many bugs as possible. So like Eric said, about 30 were already found and fixed. 30 were found and probably about half of them fixed so far. So we've pushed close to 20 bug updates, bug fixes, UI just in the past hour. And you'll see those. They were all live on labs, and then we just pushed them to production right when we went live for the AMA. I had them all pushed to production so that they're equal now. But we're still fixing stuff in real time. So if you want the latest, be on labs as usual. But yeah, we you should see that the UI is a lot better than it was before we did that hour-long hackathon. So definitely some good progress. And like Eric said, I'm pretty happy with how it went. And I think we should start doing this maybe once a month. We can just do like an organized, maybe we'll do like a 2 hour hackathon, and we can either live stream it or not. I mean, if we live stream it, I won't be able to talk much. But maybe we can do something, we can figure something out. But at the very least, just having everybody together first, just to focus on finding bugs and reporting them in a specific channel so that we can as a team just see them all in real time, fix as many as possible in a 2 hour span. I think it's kind of efficient way to get things done. So yeah, definitely happy with the hour that we spent today doing it. Um, and if you're wondering why we saw so many bugs, and I saw a lot of people say I mean, obviously it just everything goes chaotic when there's any major bugs, but I put out a couple of announcements a few days ago mentioning that this was going to happen. So I said expect some instability for the next couple of days because we're migrating some infrastructure. So we're setting up basically an entirely new node. We're migrating everything. So as we kind of move all that stuff over and then reset things like half SQL, we have to resync with the block. And then while we did that, we also decided, so when it rains, it pours, and we also decided to update the way that we load things on the UI. So we basically created sharded loading for various aspects of the UI. So before we did that, basically what happened was if you would like upvote something or switch profile or click on a tag, etc., or click on a thread and see a preview, it would basically reload the entire UI for you. So that's part of the reason that the UI was slow, and slow being relative. Like the UI, I think, is a lot faster than pretty much any other Web3 UI I've ever seen. That's because we have a huge emphasis on performance. I've always said, the features of Web3, but the speed of Web2 is my end goal for the UI. So that's obviously a big point for me. Um, and so this update is really massive for increasing speed. So we've already, excuse me, we've already doubled the speed of the UI. When the update is actually working flawlessly, it should triple the speed of the UI. So you'll notice you know, after we get through this kind of rainy period, you'll notice that the UI is much, much faster than before. So definitely excited about those changes. And like I said, in the original thread that I posted a couple ago, it's gonna get darker before it gets brighter. Things are gonna get worse before they get better. So you know, I announced that a few times, but obviously when things start to go wrong, people get a little chaotic. So I made as part of the title for this AMA, I said, I'll just read you the whole title. INLEO AMA, massive infra overhaul, bugs and making people angry. So making people angry seems to be a specialty of mine in life. And yeah, but as the original thread said, it was all with the good intention of getting this massive scaling update pushed out that really improves radically across the entire UI. It's like, you know, the devs and I were just talking about how it's like a huge overhaul to the way the UI actually functions. So now each piece of the UI actually kind of loads independently, which makes it a lot faster. So you may already notice that Labs actually feels faster now than it did before. Obviously, granted, you know, there's some bugs right now, but you may notice that speed improvement even with those bugs. And I see Taskmaster and a lot of other people still testing polls. Polls will not work until I make an announcement about it. As we moved that infrastructure, half SQL, our half SQL instance is now down until we get fully set up on, and we have to resync half SQL. So I've been told that should be by tomorrow. But let's just say by Friday, polls should be back online because we need half SQL for them to work. Same thing with the dashboard. So the dashboard isn't going to work until half SQL is resynced in our node. So that will come, obviously, like I said, by Friday. I would just count on by Friday, even though it's supposed to be tomorrow. So, you know, by the end of this week, we should see a very smooth UI. We made a lot of progress today. Like, I mean, if you go back to the hour before we did the little hackathon, the UI was like almost unusable. Like you could barely post a thread. You couldn't even upload anything. So definitely made some good progress this morning. But like I said, we overhauled like a lot of the UI for this update, and doing so in conjunction with also migrating our node and doing all that backend stuff was a very like, you know, just kind of a lot to do all at once. It was a lot to put on our plate. The backend updates that we did weren't actually intentional. It was kind of a side effect of having something happen with our node provider, or the you know, the server provider that we run our node on. So it was kind of you know, we took the opportunity of that happening to do some updates to it, but then we were also still working on this, you know, kind of front end update for sharded loading, and doing both at the same time was kind of like a lot to put on the plate. So that's why the UI got so, you know, wonky because of all those updates, because it was like back end and front end breaking at the same time. But now you'll see it's a lot better, and it will continue to get so. And then, like I said, post all of this, you know, bug fixing and these updates, the UI is going to work way better than it ever worked before. So I'm very excited to see what we look like on the other side of this.
And it definitely was a pretty bumpy road the past couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm also very, very excited to see, especially because once it works perfectly, and I don't know if you want to tell people about this, but once the UI is seamlessly working and the onboarding goes to the next level, we have something big prepared for when the UI accepts new users without any kind of bug. So we might have a little hackathon just for the sign up process in the next couple of weeks. So just be on the lookout for that one.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Doing a kind of focus, and that's why I think it would be really beneficial to do them every month. We can kind of focus on different aspects of the UI and doing these hackathons. So yeah, that's a great idea that we can kind of do one that's more focused on, you know, the process and the new user experience. I think that's a really good idea. So you know, that'll probably be the next hackathon that we do, will be just hyper focused on that. I see Taskmaster said, would you say the other side of this is about a week or 10 days out? I think the other side of this is probably Friday. I think it's probably by this Friday, if I had to guess. A lot of the bugs that we've seen so far have been front end related. Like I would say just call it 50-50 because it's, somewhere around there. Some of the bugs are related to the back end and some are related to the front end. The front end bugs we can fix right now immediately. The back end bugs, we have to wait for the UI or the node to resync. So front end, it's just UI fixes. We can do all those in real time. The back end dashboard page not working, polls not working, that's all related to the node not being synced. So once the node is synced, all the back end stuff will basically fix itself. We don't even really have to do anything. The front end stuff, though, we have to fix those bugs, which is what we've been doing in real time, especially today. So yeah, I would say it's going to look a lot different by Friday, and then I would say it's probably going to be better by Friday than it was before all this stuff started. So that will be what I consider the other side.
Yeah, and people are asking, Mr. Hyde is asking, did the hackathon affect the onboarding process? I tried to onboard someone, but couldn't get a positive feedback. Uh, any kind of feedback that you have, guys, you have to either create a thread with details or you have to open a bug report in the Discord server. Otherwise, we have no idea what kind of feedback you have. We don't even know if it's something related to the browser or to the UI or due to the person you're trying to onboard not having technological awareness. Like, you have to give us something to work with. Otherwise, we are just shooting in the dark. So any kind of feedback you have, create a thread, hashtag feedback, or
Yeah,
create
and
a
I would
bug
say actually
report.
just create a thread. I don't even lately I've been thinking maybe get rid of the bug reporting channel. So I would say number one, just create a thread with hashtag feedback. It's much easier to find those and keep track of them. But yeah, I mean, if it's something super long, then maybe do a bug report. But yeah, I would focus on the hashtag feedback threads, and I've been kind of playing ping pong with some people. Like Eric said, you got to give us some details. Otherwise, we are just shooting in the dark, and then we have to spend our time trying to reproduce something, that you're telling us is an issue. But without any details, it just costs us a lot of time to try to figure it out. And then sometimes we actually can't figure it out. And then we'll ping you for more details, and then people don't respond. So then the bug doesn't get fixed. So if you experience a bug and you want it to get fixed, the more details you can provide, the better. Because it just makes it a lot easier for us to reproduce them. Otherwise, exactly as Eric said, we are literally shooting in the dark trying to reproduce what you've experienced, which is pretty time consuming. Eric, do you want to, so we're only going to go for about 23 more minutes because Eric's also going to jump on the VSC space and host that. And then also my throat is probably not going to last much more than 30 minutes anyways. So Eric, do you want to just read me through questions you see in the threadcast so we can just do Q&A for the rest of the time?
Yes, I am actually trying to find some of some good questions, of course. But I see some feedback, positive feedback, some like negative feedback in the sense that it's not working something. But as Carl said, there are still a few more days of bumpy road ahead of us, but we are getting there. Oh, this is a good one. When or if INLEO will reach the stage of hosting this online meeting or AMA in the INLEO server? I guess he's asking if we'll ever have a space or a spaces kind of thing on INLEO. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna let you answer that, but I think that we the upside of having that in terms of development is too much for the downside of having to develop it all when there's many things that are lower hanging in the sense of implementation versus adoption from people or potential onboarding from that feature, right?
I think it's not impossible to say that one day we would do it. But like Eric was saying, the hardship of creating something like that is probably not worth it when we have so many other things we could focus on, and X Spaces generally works, well enough. And then we also have the dual benefit of we don't want to just be doing spaces like within the platform. Like it's a good thing to get outside of the platform and actually have that outside attention. So I actually really like the setup we have right now of doing spaces with, obviously you got the YouTube live stream and everything, and then you've also got the threadcasts. And I think this is going to be how it works for the foreseeable future, until something, were to change our minds about the benefit, the cost benefit of doing it. But the one of the killer features that has emerged on accident is threadcasts. So it wasn't something that we intentionally set out to do. But I really think that it's a killer feature. And the more that we can streamline, the sign up process and the threadcasts in general, add more features to them, make them better. I could see a future, not too far away in the next couple of months, where there are some, major X influencers that use threadcasts in conjunction with their spaces. And it creates a kind of synergistic relationship between X and INLEO. There's no reason that we got to fight every platform and create every feature that's out there. We should focus on what we do really well, and that is putting engagement on a blockchain, putting immutable digital identities on a blockchain, allowing people to interact with them, with a low barrier to entry, allowing influencers from X to reward their audience. I think that's going to be a big reason that X influencers would even use it in the first place, is there are a lot of influencers that are like, how do I get more engagement in my spaces? How do I get people to show up? Is probably the number one thing. And we've kind of learned this through working with Breads and Ice, who, are the two influencers that we onboarded first to kind of gain some experience with. Their real mission is, how do I get more people into my space? How do I get more engagement in my space? And we've got an incredible, amazing platform where you can bring your audience in one space in conjunction with the X space, and then you can upvote all of their comments. So you are incentivizing them to, number one, show up, and number two, engage with you. And X, as it stands, does not have a good chat feature. So threadcasts are kind of designed to be like a twitch.tv live chat room. And I think there's a lot of low-hanging fruit to actually improve threadcasts in the future. So there's going to be, kind of a dual focus for us to, one, improve threadcasts, and two, convince influencers to get on threadcasts and use them to create more engagement and audience viewership on their spaces. So that's going to be something that we focus pretty heavily on, in my opinion. And that's my long way of saying that I see more value actually in not building it than in building our own version of spaces.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to consider that if we try to create an alternative to a huge platform, it's like a one-on-one fight. But if we try to complement existing platforms and say, hey, you can use this while you use this, then we have more chances of leveraging the existing platform, and then just make people use INLEO as a platform to boost their main platform, but still bring users to INLEO. So yeah, I totally agree with that one. I saw a question, but I lost it, but it was about, when are we going to have a smooth experience? I would rather have a smooth experience over having many features. And this is something that Cal actually has been focusing and has the devs focused 100% right now. The UI will not have more features before we polish the UI perfectly with the existing features. So yes, of course, we're still going to strive to be on the bleeding edge of technology in Web3, but the focus right now is to have the features that we have working perfectly. So do not worry about that. But as Carl said at the beginning of the space, it's gonna get bumpy before it gets better. And yeah, solely me saying, I just hope that I can show my friends how INLEO works in real life sometime. It has been pretty fun to try to show people what INLEO is, but it was bugging. So it's kind of hard to onboard. Yeah, it is right now, but bear with us. We will have a seamless UI pretty soon. And the fact that we just teased a big marketing effort means that we are close to getting there. So just have patience.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's a large dev team now, and the dev team keeps expanding. So, we're able to focus on both delivering new features and bug fixes. That being said, I've still shifted a lot of the devs toward fixing bugs in the near term to get us to a stable place before we start rolling out all the new features that we've got kind of sitting on the back burner right now. A lot of features that are actually ready to get pushed, but I want to have a more stable version of the UI first. This week, I'm actually interviewing 3 new potential hires for the dev team. So, we're going to have one immediate hire and then probably 2 more that follow in the next couple of weeks. So it's the team continues to expand in a lot of different ways, but especially with the dev team. And our ability to fix bugs and release new features is only going to keep getting better and better as we get more devs and more dev experience on the team. So I'm actually really happy with the state of the dev team right now. That being said, I think we need to be bigger. I mean, the platform keeps getting bigger. The usage of the platform keeps getting bigger. And as that continues to happen, we're going to need a bigger team of devs to handle it. So, you know, look forward to another full-time dev coming onto the team, and then 2 more that follow him in the weeks ahead. And you'll see the change. You'll see the difference that it makes just to have 1 more dev, 2 more devs, 3 more devs. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, I'm trying to find questions, but I saw something interesting that Taskmaster said. So we need to think of being a true digital platform and copying the likes of Amazon. Amazon builds everything themselves. X is starting to do the same thing. This is what will rule in the future. Personally, I think this is correct, but also I do think that we can also leverage existing platforms and existing tools, even if they are on different blockchains, to get more adoption. And once we get to a point where we have enough users so we can cater to them, then I think yes, we could even come up with a Twitch kind of streaming feature. But I think I am reflecting on what you think, Carl, but the focus right now is to grow the user base. Um, and we have to focus on growing from 2,000 users to 20,000 before trying to attack bigger features like Spaces or Twitch, or maybe even only Leo's.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about the growth of Leo as a platform, and I think there's kind of 2 differences to our growth. I think right now we're in this kind of early stage still, where our growth is focused on creating 1,000 true fans, and I have an obsession with the Kevin Kelly article that was written about that. So I think we've kind of got this like in the early stage of a platform of any kind, of a startup, of a business, and especially of a social network. You're going to have the first like 1,000 hardcore users, and that is like your solid base. So you want to create that, the 1,000 super fans that use the platform, and you want to cultivate them, and you want to make sure that they're all taken care of and happy with the state of the platform. And I like to say that Taskmaster is like the ultimate example of this. He is like a super fan of Leo. He's willing to use it every day. He does use it every day. He puts in actual effort to provide, knowing that it does bring value back to him to do so, but also just for the general desire of doing that. So that is, that's a really important aspect of the initial stage of building a platform. And then I think that's like phase one. And I don't think we're near there. I would say that we're probably around like 200 true fans right now. We're at like there's 200 like diehard InLeo users that use the platform every single day, create a lot of threads, provide a lot of value to the platform, and go out of their way for that. And yeah, I saw Ahmad Manga said 1,000 super fans equals 1,000 premium users. I do think there is a correlation between premium users and super fans because a super fan is someone that is like, if you think about like a Taylor Swift super fan, they own every Taylor Swift album. They try to go to every Taylor Swift concert. The Taylor Swift movie comes out and they instantly watch it. So if you think about that, but for the InLeo version, an InLeo super fan is someone who is a premium user. They're creating a lot of blog posts because they know it benefits the platform. They're making a lot of threads because they enjoy it and they know it benefits the platform. They even go out of their way to do initiatives that benefit the platform, like Taskmaster and Leo Glossary. So that is like the definition of a super fan. So I don't think it's just like, oh, you have to pay money to be a super fan. But I do think that if you are a super fan, then you understand the value proposition of premium and you're naturally going to flow into it anyways. So I actually do think premium is a good lens into what a super fan. It's a good metric to kind of um, give you some idea of the amount of super fans on Leo. There's other ways to measure it too. I was thinking of metrics for that. How many threads, like how many people create more than 100 threads a month, and things like that. There's plenty of metrics you could use to define a super fan. And like I said, I think phase one is get to 1,000 super fans on INLEO. So I think we're at about 200 in my opinion. Even though we have about 1,600 monthly active users, I would say about 200 of them are super fans. Um, and the goal is to scale that to 1,000. And I think the platform looks a lot different with 1,000 super fans. Like the activity on threads, the number of blog posts, the number of comments, number of curators, all of those metrics just start to blow up with having 1,000 super fans. And then obviously too, I think we'll be at around 1,000 premium subscribers as well. So that's phase one of the growth of a social network, in my opinion. Phase two of the growth is when you start to take hold of network effects. So that's where 1,000 super fans are basically creating an environment where you can now go out and get that network effect started. So you get an influencer that brings in 10,000 people. Only the platform goes from 10,000 monthly active users and 1,000 super fans to 20,000 monthly active users and 1,200 super fans, for example. And so I think phase two is going to be like this rapid, exponential, like just straight up arrow growth for the platform. And that's if you look at any history of any social network, that's kind of how it goes. It's like you've got this base of really hardcore users, and then suddenly there's a moment where it just like network effects take hold and everything explodes. So I don't even remember the original question, but that is my opinion is that there's two main phases to the growth of a platform like Leo. And right now we're in the super fan stage. So, we're chasing after 10,000 monthly active users, but even more important than that metric is the 1,000 hardcore users of the platform. And I like to think that we're at about 200 right now. So we've got a ways to go to get out of phase one, but it really takes building the base to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, the original question was if we should focus on growth or yeah. So basically, what you answered. Um, I'm trying to find good questions. I mean, not that you guys are not giving us good questions, but like relevant questions for what is happening right now. I mean, for example, I can see curation questions or uh Leo AI questions, which we have definitely answered a lot in the past. But oh, this is a good one. Will there be a focus on DeFi, such as Cup DeFi, with the new devs? Somehow integrating it for swaps on in Leo UI. So within the UI, you want DeFi Bitcoin flood. I think you're in for a nice surprise. Carl, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I have, obviously I have a lot of ideas for Cub and Polycub and rebuilding those to what I believe they should be. And many of you guys know the issues that we had with the bridge, and then the costly issues that we have basically had to be paying for the past of what happened on a weekly basis. So there were some costly mistakes made in the DeFi area, and I don't think it's not isolated to Leo. 99% of all platforms that were created in the DeFi space have completely blown up out of existence and are worth absolutely $0. I think we're unique that we aren't worth $0, but it's not trending in the right direction. So I've had a lot of ideas, over the months, and now it's becoming years of how we can kind of, rebuild those platforms. A lot of it has to do with generating revenue, sustainable revenue models. One idea I've had is integrating swaps into the INLEO UI. But I think we have to do it in a really unique way. So the thing that I've been sitting on and really kind of ruminating on before we actually start implementing it. So I've been working on the design for that. But ultimately, I think what you're going to see is we're going to have a swaps UI built into INLEO. And that swapping rail will use Thorchain. And if you've been paying attention to Thorchain, and you guys know that I pay a lot of attention to Thorchain, there are interfaces like ThorSwap that are making millions of dollars per month in swap revenue. So I think what happens with Cub, and I know that this is like the thorn in my, the thorn in my side, the question that's always being asked. I think the future of what we do in DeFi for Leo is something like a, what would be the word for it? Something like bringing Cub, Polycub, and Leo all into one, all kind of converging them all back into Leo, and then releasing this swaps UI and essentially using our existing user base along with our growing, traffic to drive in swaps that happen on the Thorchain rails. And obviously Leo being listed on Thorchain, Hive being listed on Thorchain, and being kind of like the center for trading, not just for Hive users, but just for like all the Leo users, and then also, Leo traffic that just like naturally starts to build. It coincides with like our main goal of just like, how do we get more monthly active users, more super fans, more premium users? That all coincides with the future idea of like essentially building a new product into the UI for swaps, and then we generate revenue from the swap fees. So, like I said, an interface like ThorSwap is literally generating millions of dollars a month. For us to have any meaningful impact on like Cub and Polycub, generating $1,000 a month would be a meaningful impact for those platforms. So I foresee, that kind of being the long-term roadmap for our DeFi is, and this is the roadmap basically for everything. And I've told you guys this for the past, I don't know, maybe 18 months, that we made a mistake and I made a mistake in expanding rather than bringing everything into like an everything app. We started building all of the apps for everything. So I think that vision has really changed, and you guys have seen that. We shut down LeoDex, and when LeoDex returns, it's most likely just going to be a module on the INLEO UI. It's probably not even going to be its own UI. So the vision has really changed to bringing everything under the same umbrella, rather than having all of these different platforms out there. And doing so will let us maintain everything a lot better, since it's all INLEO at the end of the day. It's like, okay, the swap module is having a bug. Well, that's, the INLEO team can handle that. Rather than having like, okay, we got a DeFi team, we got to organize, a DeFi front end developer and a smart contract Solidity developer, and then we got to go out and fix that, and then it takes away from our ability to work on the Leo UI. I don't want any part of that anymore. My goal is to bring everything under one banner. And you guys have seen a massive focus on generate real long-term revenue streams. So, things like premium, ad revenue, building these streams is really important. So I think there's going to be a massive change to the way that all the DeFi stuff works with the Leo ecosystem. And many of you guys understand and know that where your premium 10 HBD is getting held and getting sent to, is actually buying Leo and buying Hive and then pooling it. So ultimately, that's also driving in long-term revenue for swap fees on Cub. So there is kind of a like, and a lot of people would like to just say that we left DeFi behind and are never thinking about it again. I think those people are in for a rude awakening if they keep saying that, and then like 2 years later, they're going to wake up and realize that we've done a lot of things over the long term that are meant to build the Leo ecosystem and the Leo token ecosystem that will ultimately benefit that whole sector of what Leo is. And the short-term plan is like continue converging everything into the INLEO UI, and then over time just completely combining everything. I think that's where we're headed. And again, like I said, every goal kind of coincides with every other goal. Like if we build up our user base and we build up our traffic, and then we release a swap feature, the more traffic and the more users we have, the more people that will use the swap feature, who will then generate more swap fees, who will then benefit the DeFi arm of Leo. So it's all working, extremely like that's really been my goal, is like bring everything together and let it all work together to make the whole ecosystem better. And everything is hinging on the Leo token now. And that is the focus, is just to bring everything into the Leo token. So, I put up a thread last, I think like 2 days ago, saying that Leo is about to hit a 0.25 Leo Hive ratio. And I think we're going to see a quick trend to a 1-to-1 ratio and beyond. And that's not to say that Hive is going to go down. That's just to say that the price of Leo, the value of Leo, is going to keep going up. So I see us hitting, 0.25 Leo to Hive in the very near future. And I think it's going to keep trending in that direction. Bringing everything under the Leo token banner and building these models like premium and getting to 1,000 premium subscribers. That's, we're seeding that next stage of growth for Leo, especially in this like early stage of the bull run. Like altcoins still haven't seen the bull run yet. Obviously Bitcoin's doing really well. It's at 57K right now. The all-time high is like 12,000 away. So Bitcoin's doing really well, but altcoins really haven't hit yet. And Leo's already, pushing 6 to 7 cents. And I think things are going to heat up pretty quickly. And all the naysayers that have been saying that we, screwed up in so many ways, there's some truth to what they're saying, but they clearly aren't paying attention to what we're doing now.
Yeah, and I do imagine that when we have the UI perfectly, and then in the left side menu, we might have something related to DeFi and something related to NFTs. And I do see that going on very, very well, especially because I mean the bull market is just right around the corner. So um I don't see any more questions, but you started to speak about the market. Do you wanna just talk 2 minutes about how do you see the market behaving in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, we can just do that for a minute or two and then jump off. Um, it's I don't really know what's happening with the market. I mean, I think Bitcoin's doing well because of the ETFs. I posted a crypto daily yesterday talking about the ETF inflows. So I'm ultimately obviously bullish on Bitcoin. I have been for a long time, and I'm still a buyer at this price. I've been dollar cost averaging for years. Actually, I'm closing in on a decade of coin. I think I'm at 8 years right now. So it's almost been a decade of me dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, which has obviously been, one of the single best, trades and decisions of my life. And I think that trend is just going to kind of continue. But yeah, I think the alts, like I said, haven't seen the rally yet. And I think it has a deep impact on Leo. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, this is the Leo AMA. I'm waiting for Taskmaster's comment on it. This is the Leo AMA, not the crypto AMA. There's a deep contrast and connection between what's happening with the broader market and what's happening with Leo. So, as the market heats up and Leo also, we perfect the UI, we make the onboarding process seamless, we continue to grow the monthly active users, which we have been. We're about to hit a new record for monthly active users. We continue to get more premium subscribers as we trend towards 1,000. We get 1,000 true fans. All this stuff is converging at the same time. And I think it all plays into each other. So making the UI really great, and making the onboarding amazing. And then, being in a bull market where altcoins start exploding, Leo starts trending back to $1. And like we've seen on Hive, many, many cycles have repeated where, in the bear market, people just don't want to be on the platform. They leave, they think that the payouts are too small. But then as soon as the token starts going up, as soon as Hive starts going up, the payouts get bigger, people start to come back, they start to get interested, they start to join, and use the platform. I think we're going to see the same cycle play out with Leo now, especially when we have that onboarding really seamless, which is after we get all these bugs done, onboarding is going to be the number one focus, and getting it just like dead seamless. Like it's going to be, click 2 buttons, be logged in, no bugs, no issues, you're immediately off and you're threading. That's going to be, that's going to be really massive for us during a bull run. So, our goal is to hit 10,000 monthly active users this year. And I don't see any reason why we don't, way surpass that goal, when the bull market really heats up for altcoins. But yeah, what are your opinions on the market? And then we'll just close out after you're done.
Oh, well, honestly, I cannot believe that people were saying that the Bitcoin ETF was a sell the news event. We have been seeing that Gemini is keeps selling Bitcoin, but the inflows are starting to surpass, well, have been surpassing that for a while now. So that's why we are seeing Bitcoin at 57K. And I don't think there's a stopping to this. This is not even the bull market. The bull market usually comes a few months later after the halving. The halving is still like 50 days away, probably 45. I don't have the number in the top of my head, but this is just a prelude to the real bull market. So I'm just holding. I keep buying wherever I find an opportunity or an entry price. Not financial advice, but social fi and all of the iterations of it are going to be a main narrative. AI, real world assets. So just preparing on that. So it's gonna be a wild ride, and I do think that it's gonna last a little bit longer than the previous ones. But who knows? Nobody can predict the market, and whoever tells you that they can, they are either lying or trying to pump their bags, so, or make you exit liquidity. So yeah, we do have the Bread's sponsored space tonight at 8 p.m. EST. And we do have Chain Chatter tomorrow at noon EST. Carl's going to host that, so be on the lookout for the link. And right now, after this one, we have, well, not we, but we're going to be part of it, the VSC Ask Me Anything space. Just go to, I think it's VSC _ eco on X, so you can join the space and support our Hive brother project. And I think that's it. Do you have any last words, Cal?
No, I think that's it. Sorry guys for the shorter AMA today. My voice is about to give out. So keep reporting those bugs, and I'm going to be working on them this morning with the devs. So after we jump off this, I'm just going to keep rolling on with the bug updates. So keep providing feedback with #feedback, and then if you're jump in there and keep up with the reporting, and we'll keep fixing that stuff. And we're giving 5 HBD to any bugs that get reported. So keep up with the reporting, and we'll keep fixing stuff. Like I said, by Friday, I think we're going to be kind of on the other side of this. The node will be back, the half SQL instance will be back, and a lot of these front end bugs will also be fixed. So look forward to that. So keep up with all that, and then join Eric on the VSC space right now. And we'll catch you guys later.
See you guys. Thank you for being here.